American sauce. Who knew? I was like, is it made with real Americans? Should I be concerned? Hello, thank you for clicking that button and joining me again today. I am back from vacation, as you can probably guess. How do you like the background? Do you like that? Is that good? I don't know. So today's weigh-in, or was it today? No, it wasn't. I don't know. It was a few days ago. Whatever. When I got home, I got on the scale to see how much weight I had gained. When I left, I was 214. When I returned, I was 217, which I think was good, considering when I got off the airplane, I think the only thing I did for the first week while I was there was eat. So I think, and then the amount of candy. I think I have eaten like 3 people's worth of salty licorice candy. So, and of course chocolate, because, you know, European chocolate is so much better than American chocolate. We went to a restaurant that was Viking themed, and I had salmon, which they called trout, but apparently they're like virtually the same fish. We had mead. I mean, tons of food. I didn't have any Swedish meatballs, but they have pizzerias all over the place. And I had a pizza that was cheese. And their pizza is different than ours. It's not what we would think. It's thin crust, and they don't like a lot of tomato sauce. So this pizza that I had was thin crust, not much tomato sauce. There was cheese, and then curry, bananas, and what else was on there? Curry, bananas, peanuts, and chicken. And it was surprisingly good, because I know that doesn't sound that awesome, but it was really good. So that was really cool. I didn't count calories or anything while I was over there. I just enjoyed myself. I drank booze and, you know, all that fun stuff that you're not supposed to do when you're on a diet. And only gained 3 pounds. I mean, granted, I walked my ass off at Vaken, so, and that was the other thing, is I know that I had said, oh, we're gonna walk around Sweden. Oh no, it was Germany. It was Vaken. So we got a good parking space at Vaken, so to walk to the infield. And if you don't know what Vaken is, what are you doing on my channel? No. Wacken is the largest outdoor heavy metal festival in the world. It takes place in Germany, and it's kind of like Woodstock, if anyone remembers that. Just, if you don't know what Wacken is, just Google it, okay? Just Google it. What was I saying? Oh, so we got a good parking space. It was a 10-15 minute walk to like the shops and stuff. Probably a little more than that to get to the infield where the big stages were. But some people had to walk like 1 mile to 2 miles in, so there was a lot of walking at Vaken. You know, there was walk down there and then walking around all day looking at things and going to shows and then standing there. The killer part for me personally was standing. The standing is just a killer. And that killed my back. My feet were okay, but my back was a little some days because of just the standing. But I'm glad I did the walking, because my feet would have been dying if I hadn't. What else? So we walked, we ate, lots of candy. The other thing that you might find interesting is the water. If you walk into a store and just grab a bottle of water, there's probably a 75% chance it's going to be bubbly water, because they like that, I guess. I don't know. You have to specifically look for still water if you want just a bottle of water, like one would think over here in the States. What else? The food that I ate over there was amazing. Mostly because we stayed at a friend of my friend's house, and they cooked for us. So mostly it was barbecue stuff, pork, chicken. I missed the steaks. They had those like the night before, but it's fine. Oh, and the other thing was, there's a whole section in the grocery store called the American section. And I'll have to put a picture up, but they've got stuff like Pop-Tarts and root beer, and what else did they have? Peanut butter, because peanut butter is not really a thing over there. So they had peanut butter. What else? Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper didn't seem to be real popular over there. What else was there? You'll see in the picture. It's like all kinds of just like, you would think random things. And I was like, well, if it's American, where's apple pie? Oh, and that was the other thing, is we went to a 50s themed diner, and all the food was American food with kind of a Swedish twist. And I told them if they want real American, like American food, that they needed to have chicken and waffles. Because they didn't have any of that. And I think that was like super duper American for like going over there. No apple pie, but they had cheeseburgers and all that kind of good stuff. And the guy who owned the restaurant, or I don't know if it was like him and his wife owned it or whatever, but he looked like he came right out of the 50s. It was amazing. He had like a pompadour, and he was wearing like the bowling, like what you would think. I mean, rockabilly was what you would say over here, but I mean, he had it down. And he told a charming story about how in the neighborhood, when he was growing up, there was this black car, and since he had the car, the story was that this was the black scary car that all the kids were scared of, and when he got older he had to buy it. So he had it sitting there, and it had like chain hanging where the grill was, and it did look pretty foreboding, but I thought it was a charming story that he was like, I was scared of this car as a little kid, so I had to buy it as an adult. So it was cool. Everybody over there is in amazing shape. They're all beautiful. They're all tall. They're all well dressed. It kind of made me feel like a slob in my t-shirt and everything. But it's got to be the walking. I don't know, because I swear when I got there, all we did was eat. I swear. Like cheese and this flatbread stuff and all kinds of stuff. The coffee over there. This video is going to be like the most fucking random video out there, but I don't care. So the coffee. They like really strong coffee. Like super strong. And they don't drink coffee drinks, so you can't just walk into like a convenience store and get a Starbucks or a Monster coffee drink or whatever, because they just don't have it. They don't drink it. It's weak. So I missed that. I was happy to come home and get my Starbucks. What else? Oh, so funny story. We went over to this gentleman's house, and when we were all getting ready to go to Vaken, and so while I was there, I was offered a cup of coffee, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely, I will drink some coffee. And so they poured me a cup of coffee, and I think I don't know if it was the folks that I was around, but I'm not sure that they really take cream and sugar. It seemed like they like just drinking it black and strong. So, of course, me being me, I want some cream and sugar, and so they had little sugar cubes. It was very cute. So I get my coffee, and a gentleman who was, he didn't live there, but he was visiting. He asks if me and this other girl want milk, and we're like, yes. And so the most frustrating thing about being over there is I couldn't read anything. So he reaches into the fridge, he pulls out this milk carton looking thing, and it has all this like Asian writing on it. And like, I don't know, a picture of a tree or something. And he pours it first in her cup. And then as he comes over to my cup and starts pouring it, she says, "Are you sure this is milk?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm sure. Why?" And she's like, and so it had like congealed in her coffee. And, it kind of bubbled up in my coffee. And we're like, this does not seem like milk. It looks like milk. It doesn't seem like it. And so when the owner of the house walks in, this fella asks him, "Hey, is this milk?" And he said, "No, it's yogurt." I'm sorry. It's like, I don't know. It's funny to me. So this was like a big joke, because every time I'd have coffee, I'd be like, "Do you have some yogurt for my coffee?" So yes, they consume this yogurt that is not as thick as yogurt would be for our country, for, you know, in the States here, but it's not as thin as milk, but it's almost as thin as milk. So they drink it, or they put a granola in it and like cereal, like, you know, duh, that makes sense. But it was probably not something, so it was like probiotic coffee. So I drank it. I just put some more sugar in it, and it was okay. It did make it have this kind of what would you say, like a tangy taste to it. Gave my coffee a kind of a tangy taste. So I drank it anyway. It was fine. It was fine when I put like another sugar cube in it. It was fine. So that was a thing. It became a joke about the yogurt coffee. And then through the course of the trip, we found out that we were not the only people that had that experience. So I was able to figure out which one was milk when I was on my own, but when I was trusting someone else to pour me some milk, it did not work so well. Maybe put up some pictures of that Viking themed restaurant. It was really cool. The food was really good. We had like reindeer jerky and obviously salmon, and then with the salmon there was like was it beets? Like mashed beets? That doesn't seem right. No, it was turnips. That's what it was. It was mashed turnips. Which is, you know, tastes like turnips. It was pretty good. And what else did we have? I can't remember. We had some kind of, I didn't know what it was, but it was like almost like a Wellington. It had like a pastry on the outside and then like a fish kind of on the inside. And that was really, I mean, everything at the restaurant was really, really good. I mean, there was nothing that was like, eh. It was all really good. We ended up having sushi in Denmark. So kind of accidentally. I say accidentally because we had no plans of stopping at this hotel, but we ended up stopping there. And it turned out we were a little fearful because we thought this hotel was a little sketch. But it seemed like it was more a restaurant. Like the restaurant was the important moneymaker for the owners and not the hotel part. Because when we got there, the parking lot was empty. But at 5 o'clock when the restaurant opened, the parking lot was packed. So it was more food, less hotel. But it was Asian food, which was cool. It was an Asian buffet. I don't know if they said Chinese, but it was an Asian food buffet. And I did actually get some sushi, and I have it sitting there in front of me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know if I should eat this. This could not go well for me. And I turned to my friends, and I was like, so where's the ocean? And they go, well, if you walk 15 minutes that way, there's the ocean. I'm like, oh, well, this sushi is fresh. I will eat it then. And I had no problems. I did not feel sick. Oh, and that was the other thing is I had made myself a little first aid kit of like things that I thought I might want, like Tums, Pepto-Bismol, Benadryl, Imodium, cough drops, cold medicine, Band-Aids, Neosporin. Just I threw like all of those things in there. And it wasn't like a ton of things. It wasn't like a huge package of any of those things. It was just like a couple tablets that you would get at a convenience store here. And it was a good thing I did because people took all of my Pepto, and one guy at Vakken got stung in the back of the knee by a hornet, something. I don't know if there is a difference between a wasp and a hornet, but he got stung in the back of the knee and took one of my Benadryl, and we also cleaned him up with some of my other stuff that I had. So if you're going anywhere, even to a foreign country, bring a little first aid kit kind of thing. So that worked out pretty well. Another funny story was I was talking to my husband. I call him every night, and he asked me what I was having for dinner, and I was like, oh yeah, we're having pork or whatever. It was meat. And he goes, they eat meat? I'm like, well, yeah. What else would they eat? So I'm like, they're not vegetarians necessarily. I'm sure there are Swedish vegetarians. And he was like, oh, okay, I didn't know. I didn't know what they, I'm like, of course they eat meat. At least the folks I was with ate meat. They have these tubes of things like bacon cheese and reindeer meat and cheese. What else? I got like a bunch of them, like 4 of them. I guess it can't be a bunch. And the other thing is they had this stuff called American sauce, which tasted like kind of weak Thousand Island, but it was shocking because it actually was really good, and it was really great on like hamburgers and hot dogs, and so American sauce. Who knew? I was like, is it made with real Americans? Should I be concerned? All in all, it was a really great and wonderful trip. All the Swedish folks were amazing, and all the German people, they were all amazing. I know that they did have some trouble understanding me, so some of them, but they were cool. Air hugs. I believe in you. I absolutely believe in you. We can do this together. So I will see you next week, and I wish you the best of luck this week. Air hug.